Hi everyone, my name's Mika. I'm an extension agronomist at Farmacist here in the Burdekin. I'm the project manager for Project Blue Water, which is a pesticide efficiency project being funded by the Great Barrier Reef Foundation. So I'm just going to run through some things today on a quick video on some nozzles we've been recommending in the region, when you might use them, the droplet spectrums, and also some 2,4-D legislation that everyone needs to be aware of. So since 2018, the APVMA has mandated the droplet spectrum for the minimum droplet spectrum for 2,4-D application. This is with an urban leg or a flat boom. So basically we need to be now using a very coarse droplet, and this is sometimes an issue when we are mixing things like gramoxone with our 2,4-D. So 2,4-D is a systemic herbicide, meaning that if it touches the plant, it's absorbed and then translocated throughout the plant. So coverage isn't critical, but when we start talking about things like paraquat, coverage is very important because it's a contact herbicide. So anything that the herbicide touches, it's going to kill. It doesn't translocate very well at all. So when we start mixing these two chemicals, our droplet spectrum becomes very, very important. So most of the nozzles that we're using here in the cane industry, we range from a fine to an extra coarse droplet. There's no real need for us to be using fine droplets anymore. So most labels generally call for a medium droplet. So a fine droplet will have about 30 to 40% driftable fines, which means that 30% of the droplets actually can't fall to the ground under their own weight. So it means either lost product or product hitting off target where we don't want it to hit it. So medium upwards is our droplet spectrum where we want to be. So I'm just going to run through some of the nozzles now, some of the options, and what the droplets actually look like when you actually run them at 3 bar. This nozzle here is an XR T-Jet nozzle. It's a 110-02. So this will produce a fine droplet at 2 and 3 bar. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, there's not really a need for fine droplets anymore. XRs can work well in larger sizes with medium droplets and things like that, but fine droplets, there's a lot of loss and a lot of drift associated with them, so there's no real need to be using them anymore. Medium's the way to go. So this nozzle here is a TTJ60 twin jet. This produces a medium droplet range at 3 bar. It's also a twin jet nozzle, so there's 2 exit angles for the pesticide. Really good option for insecticides, fungicides in mung bean and soybean crops. So it's a non-air inducted nozzle, so non-air inducted nozzles actually release droplets at a higher velocity, so they're moving faster, they can penetrate a canopy more effectively than air inducted nozzles. So air inducted nozzles will still work with fungicides and insecticides, but if you want to get the best job possible, and an option like this where you've got a twin exit angle, non-air inducted is an ideal situation. This is an AIXR 110-02. So basically this is probably one of the most versatile nozzles that we have available to us. So this is an air inducted nozzle. So air inducted nozzles actually, they inject air into the droplet before it's released, and this actually slows the droplet down, and it's really good for coverage. Sometimes it's not ideal for penetration when you're trying to penetrate a really dense canopy like a mung bean or a soybean canopy. That's where pre-orifice or non-air inducted nozzles really work well. But this nozzle here, an AIXR, can operate at a very coarse droplet range, a coarse droplet range, and also a medium droplet range. So really versatile nozzle and a really good option for a lot of growers. This is the TTI60 twin jet nozzle. This is actually high pressure air induction. So we have 2 different types of air inducted nozzles, low pressure and high pressure. So low pressure air induction nozzles, they like being run between that 2 to 3 bar range, whereas these high pressure air inductions, they really perform well in those 3 to 4.5 bar range. That's where they really find their sweet spot, where they operate the most effectively. So this nozzle is producing a ultra coarse droplet at 3 bar, and at 4 bar a very coarse droplet. So this is a 2,4-D compliant nozzle, also a really good option for Roundup and fallow sprays. So Roundup also doesn't need those smaller droplets. You want larger droplets so you can have as much chemical inside the droplet so it can translocate well, so you've got a high concentration inside a droplet. In summary, our main take-home point from this video is that Each nozzle is suited to a specific purpose, whether it's a high pressure air induction, low pressure air induction, or a pre-orifice non-air inducted nozzle. They all do different jobs. Our main objective here is to improve efficiencies with our application method so we can get the right product at the right rate, apply it at the right time, and ultimately in the right place.